Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome to Extra Gents Scents. Today I want to talk to you guys about a fragrance that I got pretty much as soon as it came out. Actually, at the time, there was a lot of hype around it and it was difficult to get one. So I remember this was back when I was still on Facebook, and in the Facebook fragrance groups, people were taking deposits to get these. You would say which one you wanted. You would put in a deposit, you would wait a while, sometimes a long while, then it would finally come in, you'd pay the rest, and then you would get it. It's from Tauerville, and the fragrance is Vanilla Flash. And this one is definitely one that you need to know about if you do like vanilla, trust me. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'll show you guys the presentation, and then we'll talk about the fragrance a little bit. Let's check it out. So the presentation, it ain't much. There's not a lot to look at. So here it is. You can see there on the front, the name of the fragrance, the name of the house, size and concentration. It's an eau de parfum, 30 ml, 1 ounce from Tauerville. And that is it as far as the bottle goes. On the bottom, you have a little sticker, and then the cap slides into place. Let me go ahead and spray out a couple sprays for you guys. It's fine, it's decent. Look at the coloration on mine as well. That is aged to perfection, like a fine wine. It's got this nice light ambery kind of caramel color to it now. If memory serves correctly, it wasn't like that when I first got it, but it has been 7 years? Yeah, 6 or 7. So in case you're unaware, this is Tauerville, as I mentioned before, and Tauerville is a separate brand under Andy Tauer. So the perfumer Andy Tauer, whose Tauer Perfumes has just some amazing fragrances, some modern classics. Two of my favorites are LDDM and Lone Star Memories, or L'air du désert Maracan. My horrible, terrible pronunciation of that, which makes me cringe every time I say it. But I love the fragrance a lot. One of my absolute favorites. So like I told you guys, when this first came out, it was around the time that Tauerville was getting massive hype. Everybody wanted one. People were trying to figure out which one they wanted the most. Actually, they haven't had a new release under the Tauerville line or name in, I think, 5 years. I think 2017 was the last. So as of right now, it's almost like a little dead brand. I don't know if they're going to come out with things in the future. Hopefully they do. But here lately, there's not really been anything to look forward to from them. So you may be wondering how much these cost, because again, they're very small, just 30 milliliters. Well, they're not actually all that cheap when you think about the price per milliliter. They're $75 per bottle. So that doesn't sound that bad, but again, it's just 30 milliliters. So you're paying $2.50 per milliliter. And each one of the main fragrances underneath Tauerville is a flash fragrance. So it's basically a note and then flash. So this one is Vanilla Flash. There's Rose Flash, there's Fruitchuli Flash, there's Patch Flash, Amber Flash, Incense Flash, and Tuberose Flash. So lots of flashing going on. Vanilla is the first one that I bought, and it's because I'm a huge sucker for vanilla. And actually some people at the time were saying, well, Vanilla Flash is like Tobacco Vanille, only even better. Of course, talking Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille, one of my favorite tobacco fragrances of all time. So this one does have, obviously, vanilla as one of the notes in it, bourbon vanilla, and it has tobacco also. So that's where you're gonna get that tobacco vanille comparison. You also have rose in here, you have spices, you have patchouli, and I'm gonna tell you guys, there's a little bit of a similarity to tobacco vanille, but not a huge similarity. It's not close enough that I would say, oh, this destroys tobacco vanille. I'd also say that they're not even close enough to say that they're redundant to own each of them. So when you spray this one on, you're gonna get hit with a bit of spice, slightly dry, but also warm and sweet. The vanilla in here, you can pick it up right away, and it's more of a boozy vanilla. So that bourbon vanilla, yeah, it does come across like there's actually bourbon in here, not just like it's a standalone bourbon vanilla note. It's a very boozy vanilla. The tobacco leaf is not as prominent as the vanilla in here. And actually the rose is surprisingly very prominent, even right away. And that's really gonna help set this apart from tobacco vanilla a good amount, because the rose in here, especially in the opening, in the mid, is going to be one of the main things that you pick up. It's like a spiced, rosy boozy vanilla, essentially. There's also a little bit of dustiness, a touch of powder, you could say, but it's kind of behind everything else. So when you smell the fragrance in the top or the mid, you get hit with these other things first. Pick up the rose, pick up the spice, the vanilla, the booziness. You pick all that up, and then after everything, like lurking in the background, like Michael Myers and Halloween, you pick up that little bit of powder. It's like, oh, there it is. I see it. Now, as you work through the mid into the dry down, the rose actually, for me, steps away. So it's most prominent there in the opening and the mid, and then it just slowly fades and fades until you don't really pick it up anymore unless you really seek it out and look for it. If you just smell the fragrance normally, you're not going to get that much rose once you hit the dry down. Now, if you're sitting there doing this deal, then maybe it's where you get a little bit, but as it dries down, it fades away. It's not as prominent at all. Instead, you get a bit of patchouli that takes its place. So in the place of that bit of that slight touch of powder and dust, you get a faintly earthy patchouli sitting underneath the tobacco and the boozy vanilla. And it stays pretty much that way through until the end, which does take quite a while. Even though this is an eau de parfum, it lasts. It stays on your skin for quite a while. The projection is very good as well. So over 8 hours of longevity without issue with Vanilla Flash. And obviously with that kind of performance and with this kind of no breakdown, the way that the fragrance comes across, the booziness, the vanilla, the warmth, the spices, the patchouli, all that, not going to be a great choice for spring or summer, in my opinion. Going to be more a fall and winter time fragrance. I think really you can pull it off daytime or nighttime. Maybe it leans ever so slightly toward the evening just because of the sweetness in here. But I think realistically, either way, whenever you want to wear it. And this one does hold a little interest to me just because I remember very vividly when it came out and how everybody was clamoring to get their bottle. And you had multiple people saying, oh, I'm taking deposits, you know, we're going to get this and this and this. Take what you want. You know, you want rose flash, you want vanilla flash, whatever. Let me know. And, you know, you get a bottle, you get a bottle, you get a bottle. It was a whole thing. Everybody was really hyped to see how this line was being fleshed out by Andy Tauer and having this new option, this new avenue for him to release fragrances through. Everybody was really hyped, basically. And I got this one in, absolutely loved it. I haven't sprayed it on all that much over the years, just time here and there. Of course, I have a lot of fragrances, and a lot of times I have to just be wearing things that I'm going to review. But still yet, I would make time for this every so often during the cooler months. And I think it's a wonderful fragrance. And a lot of the other Flash fragrances are very good as well. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, nothing has come out in, 5 years now. And so it just kind of makes you wonder, well, is anything gonna come out again? I don't know. Now, I haven't really kept up with it. You know, I've not been Googling, you know, Tauerville, what's going on? When are the new fragrances coming? But obviously, it kind of hit, and then that was it. The Flash line of fragrances, though, if you're intrigued at all, are definitely worth checking out. Yes, they're expensive price per milliliter, but overall, as far as indie and niche prices go, not too terrible, $75. And as I said, the performance here is actually very, very good. Even though it is an eau de parfum, it performs more like an extrait. So it will last you a long time. It's kind of like Nasamato. Nasamato bottles came in little 30 ml sizes. And not too many people seem to be upset about that because they last long enough that it didn't matter all that much. You could kind of view these like that, only without the large ostentatious top. So if you're a big fan of vanilla, specifically a nice boozy vanilla being the focal point of the fragrance, with a prominent rose, bits of tobacco and spice throughout, and a little tiny earthy touch in the dry down, check this stuff out. It is worth knowing about. All right, guys, that will do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me today and hearing me talk a little bit about Vanilla Flash. If you smelled this one or any of the others in the Flash line, go ahead and drop a comment. Let us know what you think about it. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you again with the fragrance video another time. See you later.